The life of Hazrat Musa, A.S., and the behavior of Bani Israel toward him, a detailed Quranic perspective. Introduction. Hazrat Musa, A.S., known as Moses in English, is one of the greatest prophets in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. His story is mentioned in detail in the Holy Quran, with numerous references highlighting his struggles, miracles, leadership, and interactions with Bani Israel, children of Israel. His life is a lesson in patience, faith, perseverance, and the consequences of disobedience. Hazrat Musa, Anais, was sent as a messenger to Pharaoh, and his people who had enslaved Bani Israel. Despite witnessing numerous divine signs, Pharaoh remained arrogant and rejected the truth. Similarly, Bani Israel, though freed from slavery through miracles, repeatedly displayed stubbornness, disobedience, and a lack of gratitude toward Hazrat Musa, A.S. This essay will cover the birth and early life of Hazrat Musa, A.S., his confrontation with Pharaoh, the miracles and struggles of Musa, A.S., the behavior of Bani Israel toward Musa, A.S., Quranic verses about Musa, A.S., and his nation lessons from his life. 1. The birth and early life of Hazrat Musa, A.S., oppression of Bani Israel by Pharaoh. Before the birth of Hazrat Musa, A.S., the Pharaoh of Egypt had enslaved Bani Israel, forcing them into hard labor. The Egyptian rulers feared the growing numbers of Bani Israel and sought to weaken them. Pharaoh was warned by his advisors that a child from Bani Israel would one day overthrow him. To prevent this, he issued an order to kill all newborn Israelite boys while allowing the girls to live. Divine plan, the birth of Musa, A.S., and his rescue. Allah had already planned to protect Hazrat Musa, A.S. His mother, following divine inspiration, placed him in a basket and set it afloat on the Nile River. The basket reached Pharaoh's palace, where his wife, Asiya, found him. She convinced Pharaoh to adopt the child. And we inspired the mother of Musa, saying, "Suckle him, and when you fear for him, then cast him into the river, and do not fear nor grieve. Indeed, we will return him to you, and will make him one of the messengers." Quran 28:7. The infant Musa, A.S., refused to be breastfed by any woman, and eventually his own mother was brought in as a wet nurse, thus reuniting them under divine protection. Second, Hazrat Musa, A.S., in Pharaoh's palace. Musa, A.S., grew up as a prince in Pharaoh's palace, receiving royal education and training. Despite living in luxury, his heart remained connected to Bani Israel. One day, while walking through the city, Musa, A.S., saw an Egyptian man oppressing an Israelite slave. In an attempt to stop the injustice, Musa, A.S., struck the Egyptian, unintentionally causing his death. He entered the city unnoticed by its people and found therein two men fighting, one from his people and the other from his enemies, and the one from his people called for help, so Musa struck the enemy and killed him. Quran 28:15. Realizing his mistake, Musa, A.S., feared Pharaoh's wrath and fled to Madian. Third Musa, A.S., in Madian and prophethood. In Madian, Musa, A.S., met Prophet Shuaib, A.S., and worked for him. Eventually, he married Shuaib's daughter and stayed in Madian for several years. On his way back to Egypt, Allah spoke to him at Mount Tur, Sinai, appointing him as a prophet and commanding him to deliver his message to Pharaoh. And when Musa had completed the term and was traveling with his family, he saw a fire on the side of the mountain. And when he came to it, a voice called, "O Musa, indeed, I am Allah, the Lord of the worlds." Quran 28:29-30. 4. Musa, A.S., confronts Pharaoh. Hazrat Musa, A.S., returned to Egypt with his brother Harun, A.S., and demanded that Pharaoh release Bani Israel from slavery. Pharaoh rejected the message, ridiculing Musa, A.S., and challenging him with sorcery. Musa, AS, was granted 2 great miracles. His staff turned into a living serpent. His hand shone with a bright white light when placed under his cloak. Pharaoh's magicians initially opposed Musa, ACS, but when they saw the truth, they submitted to Allah. So the magicians fell down in prostration. They said, "We believe in the Lord of Musa and Harun." Quran 20:70. Despite the clear signs, Pharaoh remained arrogant and refused to accept the truth. The plagues and the exodus from Egypt. As a punishment for Pharaoh's disobedience, Allah sent a series of plagues upon Egypt, including turning the Nile River into blood swarms of locusts and lice darkness covering Egypt, the death of Pharaoh's firstborns. After the final plague, Pharaoh allowed Bani Israel to leave. However, he soon changed his mind and pursued them with his army. At the Red Sea, Musa, AS, was commanded by Allah to strike the water with his staff, causing the sea to split into 2 massive walls of water. Bani Israel crossed safely, but Pharaoh and his army were drowned. "And we parted the sea for you, and saved you and drowned Pharaoh's people while you looked on." Quran 2:56. The behavior of Bani Israel toward Musa, AS. Despite witnessing countless miracles, Bani Israel repeatedly disobeyed Musa, AS. Their ingratitude and impatience led to severe consequences. Worship of the golden calf. When Musa, AS, went to Mount Tur to receive the Torah, Bani Israel started worshipping a golden calf, misled by Samiri. And the people of Musa, after his departure, made from their ornaments a calf, an image with a lowing sound. Quran 7:148. Upon returning, Musa, AS, was furious and rebuked his people for their idolatry. Demand for a physical God. Despite experiencing Allah's miracles, Bani Israel demanded to see Allah physically to believe in him. Due to their arrogance, they were punished with thunder and destruction. "And when you said, 'O Musa, we will never believe you until we see Allah plainly,' so the thunderbolt took you while you were looking on." Quran 2:55-7. Lessons from the life of Musa, S. The life of Hazrat Musa, S. teaches us several key lessons. Trust in Allah. No matter how difficult a situation, reliance on Allah leads to success. Patience in leadership. Leading a nation requires patience and resilience. Consequences of disobedience. The repeated defiance of Bani Israel led to their hardships. Conclusion. Hazrat Musa, AKS, was a great prophet, leader and guide who endured immense challenges. The behavior of Bani Israel toward him highlights the consequences of arrogance, ingratitude, and disobedience. His story, as told in the Holy Quran, serves as a timeless lesson in faith, leadership, and perseverance. Detailed account of Hazrat Musa's ace life. Early life and divine mission, birth and survival amidst persecution. Hazrat Musa, AS, was born during a time when Pharaoh had decreed the killing of all newborn Israelite males to suppress their population. His mother, inspired by divine guidance, placed him in a basket and set it afloat on the Nile River. The basket was found by Pharaoh's wife, Asiya, who convinced Pharaoh to adopt the child. This event is detailed in the Quran. "And we inspired the mother of Musa, suckle him, but when you fear for him, cast him into the river, and do not fear nor grieve. Indeed, we will return him to you, and will make him one of the messengers." Quran 28:7. Incident leading to Exodus. As Musa, AS, matured, he became increasingly aware of the injustices faced by his people. One day, he intervened in a dispute between an Israelite and an Egyptian, resulting in the accidental death of the Egyptian. Fearing retribution, Musa, AS, fled to Madian, where he started anew. This incident is recounted in the Quran. And he entered the city at a time of inattention by its people, and found therein 2 men fighting, one from his faction and one from among his enemy. And the one from his faction called for help to him against the one from his enemy. So Musa struck him and unintentionally killed him. Quran 28:15. Divine appointment at Mount Tur. After spending years in Madian, Musa, A.S., encountered a profound experience at Mount Tur, where Allah spoke to him directly, appointing him as a prophet and instructing him to confront Pharaoh. And when he came to it, he was called from the right side of the valley in a blessed spot. From the tree, O Musa, indeed I am Allah, Lord of the worlds. Quran 28:30. Confrontation with Pharaoh. Demand for liberation. Musa, A.S., accompanied by his brother Harun, A.S., approached Pharaoh, demanding the release of the Israelites from bondage. Pharaoh's arrogance and refusal led to a series of divine signs and confrontations. The Quran narrates this encounter. Go to Pharaoh. Indeed, he has transgressed. And say to him, would you be willing to purify yourself, and let me guide you to your Lord so you would fear him. Quran 79:17-19. Miracles and Pharaoh's defiance. Despite witnessing miracles, such as Musa's, A.S., staff, turning into a serpent and his hand shining brightly, Pharaoh and his chiefs dismissed them as sorcery, leading to further defiance. So he threw his staff, and suddenly it was a serpent manifest, and he drew out his hand. Thereupon it was white for the observers. Quran 7:107-108. The Exodus and divine deliverance parting of the Red Sea. As Musa, A.S., led the Israelites out of Egypt, they were pursued by Pharaoh's army. At the Red Sea, a monumental miracle occurred. And we inspired to Musa, strike with your staff the sea, and it parted, and each portion was like a great towering mountain. Quran 26:63. Destruction of Pharaoh's army. Pharaoh's arrogance led him to pursue the Israelites into the parted sea, resulting in his demise. And we saved Musa and those with him all together. Then we drowned the others. Quran 26:65-66. Behavior of Bani Israel toward Musa, A.S., idolatry and rebellion. Despite witnessing numerous miracles,